The House will come to order. Prayer by the chaplain.
Gracious God, creator of all that we see and all that we cannot see, grant us the wisdom and grace to accomplish the job that is before us. Bring us unity where there is strife. Bring us peace where there is discord. Bring us a sense of justice and mercy. Embolden us to step across the aisle in friendship and to be the great change that we want to see in the world. We give you great thanks and gratitude for the women and men here who sacrifice for the good of the people of the great state of Minnesota. May they represent all people well here today. Amen.
The chaplain for today is Reverend Kyle Jackson from St. Andrew's Lutheran Church, Mahtomedi, Minnesota. Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing and recite the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The clerk will take the roll.
didn't grab that time. No, I have 14 right now.
Quorum is present. The clerk will read the journal of the preceding day.
Journal of the House, 90th Session, 2017, 14th day, St. Paul, Minnesota, Thursday, February 9th, 2017.
If there is no objection, further reading of the journal will be dispensed with, and the journal will be approved as corrected by the chief clerk. Hearing no objection, the journal is approved as corrected by the chief clerk. Reports of standing committees and divisions. A copy of this order of business has been placed on each member's desk. If there's no objection, the reports will be adopted. Hearing no objection, the reports are adopted. Second reading of House files.
Second reading, House File number 474.
Second reading.
Second reading, House File number 836.
Second reading. Introduction of bills. The following House files have been offered for introduction today. The chief clerk will report the House files and give them their first reading.
Introduction of first reading of House Files 1067 through 1188.
First reading, House files 1067 through 1188. Calendar for the day. The first bill on the calendar for the day is House File 375. The clerk will report the bill.
House File number 375, number 1 on the calendar for the day, an act relating to local government.
Recognize the member from Lyon, Representative Swedzinski, to introduce your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House File 375 is the impetus from a conversation from the County of Lyon County dealing with one of our local VFWs in Minneota, 199. It simply talks about the participation from using county money in or outside of a county seat. The bill before you helps clarify language that was written in 1919 that bars counties from financially participating in the construction of a memorial for sailors or soldiers outside of the county seat. We simply delete some of the language that talks about that and allows counties, if they choose, to spend money on a war memorial or veterans memorial anywhere in the county that they represent. That is the bill. Jim Fink is the commander there in Minneota, and he brought the bill forward to me, and we're moving this bill forward for them, and it could potentially help veterans organizations across the state.
Members, please take your conversations into the retiring room or into the alcoves. There are no amendments at the desk. The clerk will give the bill its third reading.
Third reading, House File number 375.
Third reading. Discussion on House File 375. The member from Hennepin, Representative Rosenthal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. And would Representative Swedzinski yield for one question?
He will yield. Representative Rosenthal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Representative, I know the Association of Counties is neutral on the bill. Is there any word from Lyon County where they stand? And the second part to the question is, will they provide the funding? Do you know?
Representative Swedzinski.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The county was actually the impetus to move it forward. When the county was approached by the local VFW, they actually said, well, we potentially, in order for us to participate, you'd have to change this law at the state level. I don't know if they gave indication whether or not they would put money forward or not, but that's the answer that they said, why don't you try to change the law first?
Representative Rosenthal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I do support this bill, so I'll be voting green.
Further discussion on House File 375. Seeing no further discussion, the clerk will take the roll on the bill.
All going over red?
Clerk will close the roll. There being 125 ayes and 0 nays, the bill is passed and its title agreed to. The member from Washington, Representative Frankie, for what purpose do you rise?
Mr. Speaker, members, I rise for a point of personal privilege.
State your point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, on Tuesday, February 7th, we lost a former member of the Minnesota House of Representatives with the passing of Patrick W. Beard. Pat Beard was a great man. He was at age 69, born in St. Paul in 1947. He graduated as the final class in St. Paul Parks High School, which then went on to move to Cottage Grove to become Park Senior High School. Following his high school, future Rep. Pat Beard served his country in the Vietnam War as a Navy SEAL, becoming decorated for his heroism with 3 Bronze Stars and a Silver Star. After returning home, he graduated from the University of Minnesota. In 1982, he was first elected to the Minnesota House of Representatives, where he would serve 6 terms in this House. During his time in office, Representative Beard chaired various committees and was a true advocate for our men and women in uniform. Just prior to his retirement, Beard said his greatest legislative accomplishment was with the passage of 2 bills advocating for prisoners of war and those who are missing in action. Representative Bill Beard also served on a congressional committee, which was established then by Speaker Tip O'Neill, dedicated to veterans issues. Outside the legislature, Representative Beard was a loving husband and a father to 4 sons. One thing, I've done some research on Representative Pat Beard in the last few days, and one thing that I picked out that I think we can all respect is that Representative Beard would always say, if it's not good for my district, it's not good for me. And for many of us, I can respect that sentiment. I want to thank Representative Beard's family and friends for coming. They are all up here in the balcony. They asked me to state the point that Representative Beard continued on in his years after his affliction due to the being exposed to Agent Orange. And it was through the graciousness of another person donating an organ that he was able to continue to live for several more years and spend more time with his family. So they would ask us all to take part in checking that box to give the option to somebody else to live and donate those organs. And with this, I will yield to Representative Lyndon Carlson.
He will yield. A member from Hennepin, Representative Carlson.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I had the privilege of serving with former Representative Patrick Beard for the full 12 years that he was here. But actually, my contact with Patrick was earlier than that. I received a phone call one day, and he asked if I would serve on a panel with Jim Obastar. It was a panel before the United Steelworkers, because he did work for many, many years at North Star Steel. And he was a very active union member there. And so I accepted that invitation, and that began a friendship that lasted for several years. Initially, I had no idea that he was going to one day run for the legislature, which he did do, and he did successfully, and he did serve here for 12 years. A couple of things that come to mind, and it's already been referenced, his distinguished service in the military, but he was a very strong advocate of men and women in the service and the veterans community as well. And in addition to that, when you talk about his legislative district, a very strong advocate for working men and women, and he felt very strongly about the issues that would impact on those constituents. So with that, Mr. Speaker, what I would like to do is ask for a moment of silence.
Members, please rise for a moment of silence in honor of former Representative Patrick Beard. The member from Hennepin, Representative Omar. For what purpose do you rise?
For personal privilege.
State your point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Speaker. Today I rise to recognize Malcolm X, a revolutionary human rights activist and one of the most influential figures in Black history. Named Malcolm Little, when he was born in Omaha, Nebraska in 1925, Malcolm X was confronted at an early age with pervasive racism at the time. Malcolm's father, Earl, worked in organizing and educating other Black citizens in Nebraska and was deemed as spreading trouble by the local KKK. After numerous attacks to Malcolm's father, the family relocated to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. There, Malcolm and his family were further harassed by the local vigilant white supremacist groups known as the Black Legion, an offshoot of the KKK. After the Black Legion burned down the family's home in 1929, Earl was murdered in what was officially ruled as a streetcar accident. And Malcolm, a successful junior high school student aspiring to practice law, was told that he was no realistic goal for a nigger. Malcolm felt the world offered no place for a Black man, regardless of his talents. While serving a 10-year prison sentence for breaking and entering, Malcolm X converted to Nation of Islam, a controversial religious and political movement founded in the 1930s. Malcolm X began to resist the leadership and beliefs of the Nation of Islam in the early 60s, and eventually breaking with them and converting to Sunni Islam, the largest religious domination in the world and about 90% of today's Muslim population. Malcolm X's Hajj, the pilgrimage we make to Mecca, became a turning point in his view on race. 2 days before his assassination, in an interview with Minnesota's own Golden Parks, Malcolm X said after his Hajj that he realized racism isn't just a Black and a white problem. It's brought flat paths to about every nation on earth at one time or another. Malcolm X was a prolific orator, author, and much of the work he left behind comes from his speeches. In his own words, "So early in my life, I have learned that if you want something, you had better make some noise. I believe that there would ultimately be a clash between the oppressed and those who do the oppressing. I believe that there will be a clash between those who want freedom, justice, equality for everyone, and those who want to continue the system of exploitation. You are not to be so blind with patriotism that you cannot face reality. Wrong is wrong, no matter who does it or says it. Hence, I have no mercy or compassion in me for a society that would crush people and for then penalize them for not being able to stand up under the weight of it." Thank you.
Motions and resolutions. There are copies of the non-controversial motions at the House desk and online. If there's no objection, we'll take action on these motions first. Hearing no objection, the motions prevail. Announcements. The member from Mille Lacs, Representative Erickson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just a reminder to those who serve on the Audit Commission, we will meet at 1 o'clock in room 200 of the State Office Building. Members of the Audit Commission.
The member from Hennepin, Representative Pepin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Committee on Rules and Legislative Administration will meet in room 120 of the Capitol immediately following session. Mr. Speaker, I move that when the House adjourns today, it adjourns until 12:15 p.m. Wednesday, February 15th, 2017.
Representative Pepin moves that when the House adjourns today, it adjourns until 12:15 p.m. on Wednesday, February 15th, 2017. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The motion prevails. Representative Pepin.
I move that the House do now adjourn.
Representative Pepin moves that the House do now adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The motion prevails, and the House stands adjourned until 12:15 p.m. Wednesday, February 15th, 2017.